Alright everyone, we're going to be looking at Eric Lang and his different board games that he has designed as we go through these best board games from great designers series. So we have Eric Lang is born in 1972. He is from Canada, or based in Canada, I guess, and he has created a lot of great different games, a lot of Dudes on the Map games, all sorts of different games. But in interviews that I've seen him talk in, he has said that one thing I noted he said was, "Do you, Eric Lang, do you create board games based on their theme, or do you create them based off of like cool mechanisms that you think of?" And a lot of board game designers will think, "Hey, I wanted to do a certain mechanism. Like I wanted to do like maybe somebody wanted to do a mechanism where you're drafting but it's on the table, and then boom, they came up with Seven Wonders Duel. Or they wanted to do um, um, worker placement but also um, deck building, and so they wanted to combine both of those. And then out from that comes another game that you just mix two different elements to it, and those are mechanisms first games. But they said, "Are you mechanisms first game or are you a theme first game designer?" And he said, "I am one of the few that is a theme first." So he always thinks of what is the feeling that I want to have people feel. What are the words I want to have them saying and thinking while they're playing, and and then I'll create mechanisms that do that for me. And I think of how can I make a mechanism do that best. Um, so a while back, he created a game called Midgard. He said, and he wanted uh, and it looks like a a fighting game, but when it was actually on the cover, but when it was actually played, it was more like a little less exciting, more somewhat boring Euro game apparently. And he thought, I want to create a game that has that feeling of Midgard, like on the cover, but you actually feel like, hey, I'm fighting as a bunch of Vikings. I want to put that feeling forward. So he's very much into the theme in his board games. Um, and he has a great heart. He's a good guy. So, yeah, Eric Lang. You can look through some of the images that he has. He's laughing. He's a fun character. Um, every interview that I've seen, he's always comes off as very professional. And all right, so now we will get into his games. So we have them organized with his most like his highest rated game on Board Game Geek to lowest rated, and already starting with the first one, 37th place on Board Game Geek. Let's hear it for Blood Rage. So this game is on Board Game Arena, and it is a pretty cool game where you are playing as a Viking tribe, and it is Ragnarok, the end of the world for Viking mythology, and you are trying to score glory in the game, brushing into battlefields that you know you will die at, and you just still run in anyways, and score glory based on your death, score glory based on winning the fight. Um, and some areas you go into, you won't be blown up immediately. See, there's fire behind that Viking because he's going to get blown up, but you won't get blown up immediately. And you can hold that area for the next round. And it goes through 3 rounds of drafting, fighting, and then scoring points. And then you just do that, rinse and repeat 3 times, and then that's the end of the game. So it can play fairly quick if everyone knows what they're doing. I want to say that about Blood Rage. If you know what you're doing, then you can play it pretty fast. Um, but there's a lot of tactical decisions that are not as you're not easy to make very quickly, especially if you're a beginner. So I'm going to put Blood Rage at about a B tier. There's different strategies in Blood Rage. I will say this, a little knock on it. I feel like some of the strategies, because I like to really go in deep with the game, and when I was playing with new players, I felt like I could steamroll them very quickly with going deep into a strategy, which I don't really like that always in a game. I like it where if you are super like good at the game, like you know the strategy, I would like there to still be a beginner can come along and kind of learn the gist of the game and do pretty competitively. But this game, if you know all the different cards in the game, you can just crush somebody, and it won't even be close. Like you can just, especially in the drafting variant or the expert variant, where you pass the cards around, you can take the best cards. And maybe you want to go for a Loki strategy, take all Loki cards, and though that strategy is that if your units die in a battle, you score a ton of points. So if you take 3 Loki cards, you score a ton of points times 3. So your entire strategy will be to run into a battle and get yourself killed, and then everybody else at the table is thinking, "Oh, I'm supposed to kill him, so I get a little bit of points. Oh my gosh, he got a ton of points," and then they don't know how to mitigate that. So that is a couple of the times I've played, I was like, just do the Loki strategy and win every time. But I'm sure there's people who have played it a lot more than I have and have really delved deep and found a way to defeat that strategy. But a basic beginner is not going to know how to combat that. So yeah, if that is if the theme and mechanisms that I described there sound interesting, then dive deep into Blood Rage and play that on Board Game Arena, and let me know what you think about that, about the strategies in there. If you've already delved deep into the strategies and know how to defeat the Loki strategy, let me know in the comments below for sure. I'd actually have to be honest, I haven't played very many of his other games, so this is going to be a very short video, folks. Next up, we have Rising Sun. I played this one. Rising Sun, I have like a love-hate relationship with it, but I'm going to put it in A tier above Blood Rage still, I guess. Maybe B tier and above Blood Rage, but the thing is it does not play as fast as Blood Rage at all, even if you are good at the game and everybody knows what they're doing. There's a lot of phases in his games, especially with with the Rising Sun. Sorry, this is like the spiritual successor to Blood Rage, and it's the Asian theme, and I love the Asian theme. But Rising Sun, it is a negotiation type of thing. If Blood Rage is the cool way to play Risk, Rising Sun is the cool way to play Diplomacy, because you are trying to take over different territories. And when you get into a battle, instead of in Blood Rage where you count up your warriors and then you secretly play a card face down, you flip them over and you played a 5, the other person played a 4, and then you add 5 plus however many units I have on my side, 4 plus however many you have on your side, and then see who wins. That's Blood Rage's combat. Rising Sun, very different. It actually uses Ignacy Trzewiczek's idea that he used in Cry Havoc, where you have different places you can bid for to do in the game. So you can choose to recruit mercenaries, these Ronin, and then you have a certain amount of Ronin that you have access to, but you can only add them to the fight if you win in bidding for that in the fight. And then you have just a lot of other things. You have one where you can just commit seppuku and you can bid really high on that and kill your own people. And then all your people are out. And then you have another one where you get more, I don't know, there's like 4 different things you're bidding on. And then with that bidding mechanism, you actually have everybody in the zone that's fighting is able to bid, and then after you're done bidding, then you see what the ending conclusion is. And sometimes maybe the guy who had a ton of units there committed seppuku anyways and killed all of his own units, so now you won the battle and you're going to get some amount of points for that, but the person who killed all of his own units for glory will actually get more points than you. So you see a theme here of killing your own units for glory rather than holding the position of the area. So that was Rising Sun. No, I'm not done. There's also a lot of negotiation in the game. You can trade things out. You can give coins for things. In fact, you can even it uses the Puerto Rico mechanism where you are taking an action, and then the person you are allied with that turn and yourself gets a bonus for that action. Like maybe it's building. So you take the building action. Both you and your opponent get to build at a reduced cost, or get to build 2 buildings, I think. And then everybody else just gets to build 1 building. So that is kind of a cool thing about it, and you can betray your ally, and they have these cool. I keep doing this thing because you have cool like yin and yang that you use to combine together of your colors, and then when somebody betrays the alliance, then they split up, and that's an action you can do in the game is just to betray, and then you no longer have that alliance going on, and that game goes through 3 different rounds, and each round you can have a new ally. So it has a ton of interesting mechanisms, but definitely there was like some theme first, and then let's get this mechanism in there to be like, hey, we're allied. Let's get this mechanism where somebody would want to betray. Let's get this mechanism in there. A lot of mechanisms tacked on to the feelings that you want people to feel in the game. Let's have like the different Japanese gods in there, and each of them have different abilities. Let's add some priests to it. So let's make some mechanisms for the different priests. Okay, that's going to require a priest round. So you have let's make allies. Let's start laying out units. Let's play the different turns. So you're going to build. I'm going to recruit. I'm going to betray you. I'm going to yada yada yada, get an upgrade, whatever. I'm going to move, and then you get to move more if you selected that action. And then also let's do a priest round as well. So there's a lot of rounds to each round, like a lot of steps to do in each round. And all right, you have more priests worshiping this god, you get the god's bonus. So a lot of different mechanisms tied onto it. Like I said, he's all about the theme, and then tack the mechanisms on later, but it works in Rising Sun. I really enjoyed it. The problem is somebody can just gang up on, like a bunch of people can just gang up on you and say, I don't want you to win, so you're not going to win. Not so much so in Blood Rage, but Rising Sun, if you're not good at negotiating the table, then you will lose. So if that does not sound like your cup of tea, don't play it. But if you want to get into a negotiation game, this would be the one to get into. I don't really enjoy negotiation games very much, but Rising Sun really was pretty cool to watch myself get destroyed and figure out how bad I was at negotiating. Next up, Cthulhu Death May Die. I heard it's good. I heard it's got a lot of hype to it. Obviously, it's 117 on Board Game Geek, but haven't played it. Chaos in the Old World. I think that's one of the games that kind of put him on the map. Haven't played it. Arcadia Quest. My bad. I played Arcadia Quest twice on there, um, and I have played that, so I'll just put one of them up there. I thought it was pretty good. C tier. You're walking through a dungeon, and instead of the goal to be working together, you're actually fighting each other and the monsters in this dungeon. You have a clan of people walking through a dungeon. It's a really cool mechanism. I wish more dungeon crawlers would do that, where it's got like a more Euro type of points mentality about it, but you are still leveling up your characters, and you are still having dudes walk around in a dungeon and fight monsters that are neutral or not neutral, but are not part of anybody's team, and scoring points with these monsters. There's the exploding dice that people talk about, where you roll a die, and then if you roll there's one of the sides that allows you to get a bonus hit, and then you roll again. So if you keep rolling that side, theoretically you could have exploding dice, where if you keep rolling that side, then you have tons of hits on somebody. So you may think you can't defeat a monster, but you could just get really lucky, roll a ton of dice, and all of them roll exploding, and so you get to re-roll all of them again and count all of the previous rolls as hits, roll them again, get it exploding again, count a bunch more hits, and you could theoretically do infinite amount of damage in Arcadia Quest, which gets people really excited. I enjoy Arcadia Quest a lot, but I'm not really into dungeon crawlers that much. So Eric Lang has this ability to get me into games that are not my normal cup of tea. I don't normally like negotiation games. I don't really generally like dudes on the map games. I'd rather just the boring Euros, to be honest, where you score your points at the end of the game with some interesting mechanisms. But Arcadia Quest is a dungeon crawler for sure, but it's got some interesting mechanisms, and I love it. So, yeah, I like it a lot. So we'll put that in B tier. Next up, we're going to look at Ankh. I actually have not played Ankh yet, but I will play it eventually. It's like the third one with Blood Rage and Rising Sun. It's instead of about Viking or Japanese god, it's actually Egyptian gods. Next up, we have The Godfather, which is New York gods. So, The Godfather is an amazing game. I say I enjoyed even more than Rising Sun. You actually feel like a gangster in the game. It plays through 3 rounds, and you're fighting, and each of these different games, Ankh, Blood Rage, Rising Sun, and The Godfather, you're all collecting different miniatures that you can use um, to fight with better. Like in Blood Rage and Rising Sun and Ankh, they're monsters. In The Godfather, they're actually characters, I think, from The Godfather that you're utilizing. I haven't seen The Godfather all the way through, but so yeah, that's kind of the type that you're doing with that. Then next up, we have, and you can definitely betray people in Godfather significantly. um, and then next up, we have Marvel United. So after a while of working with CMON Games, I think Eric Lang became like one of the lead designers or like top dog of CMON Games, and was able to kind of put his own content out with that. And so he's everything from Marvel United on. He's going to be or from 2020 on with CMON Games is going to be. Or with Eric Lang is going to be through CMON Games likely. And so Marvel United was a pretty cool game. A lot of miniatures. All these CMON games have a ton of miniatures. They're chibi miniatures, so cute little art. Giant heads, little bodies, just like Arcadia Quest kind of had. I thought it was a pretty okay. I'll put it in C tier. I like co-ops, but it wasn't the best co-op. I feel like there's a ton of variability though, so I'll give it that. But some of the with the variability came the problem with some of the fights were very easy to defeat, and then some of the villains were very impossible to defeat. And so, um, in not in an interesting way. Like I play Ghost Stories, a very highly ranked cooperative game on Board Game Geek, and that one it's impossible to defeat, but there are ways to reduce the impossibility that make you feel very clever. I didn't find that with Marvel United. It felt like it was just like there's no way to win. He's too hard. Thanos is too strong. I didn't feel like there was really a larger decision space to defeat the enemy. It was just sorry they got you good. Next up we have. All right, we're gonna go through some Lord of the Rings Confrontation. That's like Stratego. I played it halfway through and then got bored of it, so I'm not gonna rank it. Game of Thrones card game. Um, haven't played it. Arcadia Quest Inferno, haven't played it. Warhammer Invasion, not played it. XCOM, not played it. Marvel Dice Masters, nope. Star Wars, nope. The Others, want to play it, but haven't played it. Bloodborne, nope, haven't played it. Marvel Dice Masters, nope. Warhammer 40k, Conquest, nope. Warriors, nope, haven't played it. Game of Thrones card game, have not played it. Call of Cthulhu card game, not played it. Bloodborne, have not played it. DC Comics Dice Masters, Justice League, not played it. He does a lot of these Dice Master games. You know, I did play Dice Masters once, but it was so long ago I don't want to rank it. But I didn't feel like I enjoyed it very much, to be honest. Marvel United X-Men. Okay, so he's got that out. Victorian Masterminds. Nope, haven't played it. Arcadia Quest. Nope. I'm assuming that's going to be similar to Arcadia Quest. Secrets. Haven't played that. Got some more Marvel Dice Masters. There's that Midgard game. Look at that. Look at that cover of Midgard. If it will load. Dun 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 dun. All right, so that's the type of cover that he wanted to create as a good theme when he made Blood Rage. Okay, what does this have in it? Like a bunch of miniatures that are fighting each other, or is that just a bunch of pawns on the map? Yeah, just a bunch of pawns on the map, so it wasn't as exciting. Okay, moving on. Call of Cthulhu card game. Chaos Ball. I want to play that. It's supposed to be like Blood Bowl, but packed tightly in a thematic, tighter thing. I haven't really played Chaos Bowl, but I'd like to. But yeah, there's not really many others that I have played. Okay, cool. He made Dilbert the game. All right, I played Ancestry. That'll be the last one I rank. So I played Ancestry once. that game he actually made with Antoine Boza. Um, I thought it was all right. Like obviously I rated it a 4. I didn't really you can see there I didn't really enjoy it that much, but I think that's kind of cool to say that he created a game with Anton Boza, two very different types of designers. Anton Boza kind of making it more mechanisms based and working from there, and then he'll think of the theme that works well with it that can explain the rules better and is really cool. Although I feel like with Takanoko, it was theme first with him. With he wanted to make a Japanese game, so maybe not strictly mechanism based for him, but definitely theme based for Eric Lang. And then he came together for this let's make an ancestry type of thing, and he did put a lot of thought into it, I'm sure, but it just wasn't for me. It just wasn't a good mix. Um, but yeah, we'll just end right there, and you let me know in the comments below what you think about Eric Lang's board game design. He sure has an interesting way he comes up with these games, and let me know any of the games that you have tried from him and how you enjoyed them. Some of these games that I haven't tried, maybe you say, hey, actually, Conquest, the 40K game, is really great. Let me know if you really loved any of these games and say, hey, everybody, you should try that game. But I've only tried 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 titles really from his. And, um, and yeah, I'd like to try more in the future. So let me know in the comments below any gold nuggets that I passed over. All right, thank you so much for watching and take care.